Hello everybody. So I was thinking to use the YouTube channel as a means to bring short podcasts, you could say short reviews about interesting books, interesting writers, the kind of books that real book lovers like to discover, but which in some way fall a bit between the cracks of the, let's say, the commercial offering. Really, I will try in my occasional reviews to really focus on something special. And for my very first of these brief reviews, well, of course, I needed something special. And here I really thought to present you a book that is, to my taste, perhaps the best collection of subtle supernatural tales of the year. It's called The Nightfarers by Mark Valentine. Now, this is not his first book. You've probably not heard about him. Well, unless you really are into the genre of the more literary, you could say, ghost stories, or if you are interested in decadent fiction, the fiction of roughly 100 years ago, like Arthur Machen and so on. Well, because Mark Valentine writes a bit in the same style. I take here briefly two older books from him. Masks and Citadels, published by the excellent Tartarus Press, is unfortunately out of print. I really hope it will be reprinted one day. It was my first discovery of Mark Valentine's talent for subtle special stories. And then more recently, The Rite of Trebizond and Other Tales, also a lovely short story collection, very nicely presented by young dynamic publisher Ex Occidente Press. And actually it's from this publisher that Valentine's new collection is recently published. So you see, The Nightfarers. Ex Occidente Press is a publisher from Bucharest in Romania. I hope this focuses well. And it's a young publisher, but very dynamic, with already very quickly a nice offering of really beautiful books. Look here at this beautiful illustration at the start. So, well, it is actually much better produced physically. So, okay, we come to the book, the stories itself soon, but it's much better produced than most books on the market now. And, well, of course, you have to pay that a bit. Small press books tend to be more expensive. And, on the other hand, small presses tend to dare to put out books that the big companies are not interested in because they're a bit too special. Now this one is really a work of love. You see the pages are in off-white, a nice paper stock and a very wide margins. I mean, really, as they say, they don't make books anymore like this. So about this collection, it is really remarkable how Valentine, I mean, he's really at the other side of the short story spectrum of, let's say, a Clive Barker or a Stephen King, who most people think about when they hear about horror stories. Well, Mark Valentine doesn't really bring horror. It's subtle meditations about which are quite realistic, but there is a dreamy atmosphere in them, and there's always a touch, something is a bit off there. There's something a bit special there. There is a hint that there could be something supernatural. So really absolutely not in your face stories. And that is why I think, well, for the more literary minded reader, it's a real discovery. I put actually a little paper note here to give an idea of the prose of one of the stories. Well, the camera probably won't take up the detail, but so I will read with my very un-English voice, which maybe will add to the strangeness. Just the start of the story, they're dark and starry mirrors. Okay. When I first came here, I thought the light was not as hard as it was in Barbary. I learned to distinguish the hues. There was the lemon light of dawn, a bright and gleaming but benevolent yellow, the grape light of dusk, a soft misted purple, the pomegranate light of noon, a glistening pink, and even a melon light, moist and pale white green when the rain came. Okay, quite a description. Now, the whole book isn't that, how would I say, that rich in language. I mean, that could be a bit much, but it gives you this very short quote gives you an idea about a bit the dreamy atmosphere that these stories have, and they're really totally out of the ordinary. Many stories take place in the world of book lovers, but there are not really stories about book lovers. There is a fantastic story called The White Sea Company about a mysterious, very old company that may have discovered kind of a mythical continent, or maybe not, maybe it's all just a lie, and it's that doubt in the stories that make them so special, so subtle and so interesting. If there is one, let's say, complaint I have about the collection, it's not really a complaint, but sometimes the stories are a bit too subtle, maybe if you don't have an enormous background. One of the best stories there is The Dawn of Tseren. Now, I didn't even know what Tseren was. But anyway, I read the story before I read the afterword, and I didn't really understand what it's about, but it had a very special feeling about something mystical about going to heaven. And then afterwards I read the afterword, where the author gave a few helpful hints how this came about. And indeed, well, if you're a history buff, you may have had a better understanding of what was possibly happening, but even so, because it's so well done, you don't really, I mean, it's not really a complaint here. Well, YouTube is maybe not the evident way to present the book, but I thought, well, let's try that instead of writing something down. Like I say, a very nice hardcover book that, well, you won't find it in the shops, so you have to order it from the website, and well, you can just pay with PayPal. Really recommend it, and I think it's well possible if you try this, or maybe if you find another collection of his stories. I really think you will be hooked to this style. For me, in the genre of the supernatural fiction, I mean, this should be really on the awards list at the end of the year. Now, whether it will be on there or not, well, I'm not certain. I'm often a bit doubtful about what gets on the list and what gets selected, because this is clearly not commercial stuff. It's very subdued, the atmosphere, so it is not for a very wide audience. But like I say, if you are an avid reader like I am and you want to taste something out of the ordinary, well, I mean, this Mark Valentine, The Nightfarers, is really something to discover.